If you want to know how far and how low this stock market could eventually go before finally reaching a bottom, look no further than the Nasdaq 100. I truly believe that the secret lies with the Nasdaq 100 in the chart QQQ. Now, just because the market might still go lower this year doesn't mean that it won't bottom this year. Doesn't mean that it can't finish positive on the year. I'm seeing a lot of bullish projections out there right now that saying, hey, the market's going to bottom. We're going to go rally 20% in the green. That may very well happen, but it doesn't mean that there won't be some short-term pain before we get there. So I think what's really important, and this is just looking at the charts, I've gone back on the NASDAQ 100 on multiple time frames and just looked at, okay, where have we bottomed in previous sell-offs? And I noticed a trend, and I'm going to share that with you guys because I think it's really cool, really important to do. Now, before I get into that, make sure you click the join button down below if you want more of these videos sent directly to you. I have a whole set of membership-only videos that I send out each and every day to subscribers. So check that out in the members-only section by clicking join down below. Now, let's look at the charts because I do think this is a pretty important chart to look at. Now, on the daily here with the NASDAQ, you got this bear flag. I mean, it's a pretty well put together bear flag. It confirmed to the downside, but over the last couple of weeks, we've essentially just traded sideways, and that's frustrated a lot of traders because this is just a lot of choppy price action. But where does this go if we're really to continue selling off from here? If we're going to break to the downside, how low can it go? Let's look at the weekly chart because I don't really think that the answer is in the daily. In the daily, you have this declining trend line that's held up pretty well so far to date. But it doesn't tell the whole story. So let's look at the weekly chart here and let me show you what I'm looking at. First off, you got this really nice trend line off of the 2015 lows. And what do you notice here? 2018 lows, the COVID lows from 2020, they all bounce off of this level. I'm going to give it a purple color here just so it stands out on its own. This is my first inclination of where I think this market may eventually go before hitting a bottom. It goes all the way down to this price level here. It's about 17% lower from where it's currently priced at. That could be an incredible bounce opportunity. In the process, I think it would flush out a lot of longs out of this market. It would cause a lot of people to panic sell in the process. If that doesn't hold though, and that's where I would get a little bit more nervous. You have this rising trend line, and let's look at it from a monthly chart, because one of the things you'll notice, especially with the previous trend that I just drew, is that this 50-month moving average has been a good spot for the market to bounce off of. So we're actually below the 50-month moving average at this moment. So that's something that we really haven't seen since 2009 during the Great Recession. But if we're to go lower, if this purple line breaks, where might it go before it finds a bottom? This is probably, in my opinion, the worst case scenario. It would be 40% lower from current price. Do I necessarily think that that's the likelihood here? No. Do I think that's something that we see this year? No, I don't think so. Because if that was the play out, I think that would play out in 2024 as well. I think it would take a lot longer to get to that point before we eventually bottom. But you can see there is a trend line there. So there's two trend lines that we really need to keep an eye on. Not because we're going to hit it today or tomorrow or next week or probably not even next month, right? But unless there was a big crash. But it could be something that plays out over the course of 2023, and in the worst case scenario, something that plays out in 2024. But these trend lines have been very consistent about hitting market bottoms. You can see here when I zoom out a little bit, you can see this full trend line here on the Qs. This goes all the way back to the 2009 bottom, and the 2015 sell-off hit off of it, but it hasn't been tested since then. So this is a trend line that hasn't been tested in over 7 years. That's why I think that this is probably the more logical scenario here. This purple line that goes back to 2015, tested in 2016, tested again with the 2018 sell-off, and then the 2020 sell-off as well. They all reached their bottoms at these levels. And you can just see how much this market has become overextended going back to the March 2020 lows, where you just saw a rampant increase in price. And right now you're seeing a blow off top to return the market to a more neutral setting for more long-term sustainability. So does that necessarily mean that I'm going to sell everything that I own and just wait for those levels to hit? No, because one of the big things that I've learned over the years about the market is that what we think or what we expect is not always how the market plays out. And so while these lines line up pretty good, and I think there's a good possibility that we get down to at least that purple level, that one that goes off of the 2015 lows. The market can still do whatever it wants, and I think when we become dogmatic in what we expect the market has to do, that's when we start ignoring the will of the market and what it ultimately will do, and that's where we start to lose. So know it, don't be surprised if we hit it, and then trade in the direction of the market wants to go. If it decides the bottom before then, let's say it decides the bottom right now, then follow the market's lead in that process. But keep these trend lines in the meantime in the back of your head, knowing that there's a lot further that this market could go before it finally really reaches a legitimate trend line or bottom for this market to ultimately rally off of. If you enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to like and subscribe to this channel. Hit that little bell so you can be notified each time I do one of these videos. And let me know in the comments below, what is your expectations for 2023? Do you think we're going to keep selling off here? Do you think we finally reached a bottom back in October and it's just higher prices from here? I want to hear about it, man. Thank you guys, and God bless.